The life of man is a long march through the night, surrounded by invisible foes, tortured by weariness and pain, towards a goal that few can hope to reach and where none may tarry long. One by one, as they march, our comrades vanish from our sight, seized by the silent orders of omnipotent death. Very brief is the time in which we can help them, in which their happiness or misery is decided. Be it ours to shed sunshine on their path, to lighten their sorrows by the balm of sympathy, to give them the pure joy of a never-tiring affection, to strengthen failing courage, to instill faith in hours of despair. United with his fellow men by the strongest of all ties, the tie of common doom, the free man finds that a new vision is with him always, shedding over every daily task the light of love. Today on the show, we're drinking Bud Ice.
That was the most sophisticated introduction to cold cans that we've ever heard.
I thought it was necessary for a sophisticated beverage. Oh, that's pouring well.
Oh, yeah.
I like the slow fade out of the music. I don't think we've ever done this before. Should we just loop it for the whole episode?
Maybe. All right. There. Music Boy got to do everything today.
Hell
Pour
yeah.
the beers, crack the beers, play the music, record the show for the third week in
To
a
our
row.
nice new microphones. You drop that to the listeners. I told you I owe you 3 in a row. Cheers, buddy.
Joe.
It's better than I would have had imagined.
It's really not bad. And I've been drinking a lot of frou-frou beers lately. It's nice to
What's
just drink
frou-frou beers?
like fancy stuff like
Hoity-toity
craft
beers?
Hoity-toity. I hope
Never
frou-frou
heard
is not
frou-frou.
like a.
Well,
I don't think it's
I know
a
you've treaded
offensive
in
thing.
dangerous territories there before.
But that's what I mean. Yeah,
Got
like
it.
a little bit. Yeah.
So you're
nothing
like
simple.
okay. So you're
I haven't been doing these adjuncts. Gotta get back to the adjunct.
Yeah, get back to it. Bud Ice, in addition to the connotations that people know and it coming in a giant can and everything, the marketing on it is just also bad. It's like early 2000s sort of ice font that doesn't do it any justice.
Yeah, they have not updated that. And this one's called The Big One.
Oh, the big one.
25 fluid ounce can, the old silo.
Oh, I got to get a picture of the big one with the big one.
Hey, I'm
My
the big boy.
with the big one. Let me get one. Let's get a picture here. And cheers. Oh, you closed your eyes as I took the picture.
Take it again.
No, look at it. It's a pretty good one. It's the big one.
I look high.
That's okay.
What will me mom say
I don't know. Does
when
she
she
listen?
follows us on Instagram? No, she doesn't.
One day she's going to binge listen to every episode.
Hey,
and
she
be happy
might.
about how much you worry about her on every
That's true.
episode. That's nice.
Always worrying, Ma.
The quote at the top of the show, Bertrand Russell in his book Mysticism and Logic. I thought it was a powerful quote because
Yeah. So you're reading this book.
I'm reading this book and it's a French book that is translated. It's actually a Spanish book, I guess, that was translated. I don't know. French buddy of mine told me about it. French Canadian buddy of mine.
Oh,
told me
wow.
about it.
Doesn't count.
Shout out to Matt Morissette. So I was reading it, and that passage struck me. Basically, what it's saying is, here's the logic that Bertrand's building around this, okay?
Give it to me, Bert.
He's saying, in essence, we're all born with true freedom. And some of us are born with, like, I guess, a more restricted world of that freedom. Like, if you're born into poverty versus being born into affluence or whatever. But we do have freedom of choice for the most part. Like, we have some confined world
So he's
of
talking
choices
about like
we can make.
the innate
We have
rights of
innate
man.
freedom. We have innate,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And every decision we make restricts that freedom our entire life. You could make a major decision like murdering somebody, which would put you in jail, and your freedoms would be restricted, right?
Or like when the judges of your boxing match declare that you isn't that what a major decision is? Or is that a wrestling thing?
No, I don't,
Might
I don't
be
think it's a
no.
split decision and something like that.
Oh yeah, major decision I think is a wrestling thing when you win by more than 14 points. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Hey, wrestling heads out there are going wild. They're just dumping their Bud Ices on their heads. So hold on, I'm gonna take a drink.
It is good. It's good to sip while we're
It sucks that
chatting.
it's good, but it is good. So Bertram argues every decision you make restricts your freedom a little bit.
Okay.
For you get up in the morning, you have a decision to wear nothing, to wear any shirt that you have, to go out and buy a shirt, whatever. As soon as you pick a shirt, you put it on, your freedom, that freedom is restricted. And you go about
Because
your
you
day.
made the choice?
Because you made the choice.
So there's freedom
So
and
choices
multitude.
sort of restrict
Huh.
freedom, and some people make choices throughout their entire life that like narrow-mindedly give them no freedom, and then mostly those people get frustrated. It's the people, he argues, it's the people who make the choices that retain freedom as much as humanly possible that are the happiest. And if you don't like where you work, you go change your job until you feel more free and not restricted by maybe working 80 hours or whatever. You know what I mean? So he's making this argument, and then he says, the freest person in the world, the happiest person on earth, the most free, the person who has it all, what would they want? Like, what's the thing they still need, even if they have every material thing that exists? And his argument is they need that nut. They need companionship. They need friends. They need some. If you had everything you ever wanted, but you didn't get to have you could not communicate with anybody else on earth ever.
Sure.
You still would be miserable.
Yeah.
So his point is true freedom is what we strive for, and when you achieve that, the thing that you should value above all else is your connection with everyone, and that's his definition.
Did you read us the part on the true freedom, or did you just read the companionship part?
I read the part on the companionship.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make
freedom.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What he was saying is the free man. This followed his argument about what it means to be free.
Because I picked that up at the beginning, and that was the first I had heard of you talking about the companionship. Because he talks about it more from almost like not from an inward perspective of you seeking it out, but like you need to provide it for others, and in so doing, you're getting it for yourself.
You'll reciprocate it for yourself.
Right.
They'll treat you, and furthermore, like we live, the thing that binds us all is that freedom of man that he argues, and death.
Okay.
And we have this kind of blink of a time on Earth between there, and you could spend your time like being a shithead and like taking away your own freedoms as well as freedoms of others, and making life miserable the short amount of time you do live. Or you can spend your time with empathy for your fellow comrades and bring joy and happiness into that march toward death that we're all taking. So I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, I think it's a nice perspective. To get back to the personal freedoms thing, so he's only saying that it's restricting your freedom. Making a choice is only restricting your freedom if it doesn't bring you happiness.
I don't even know if he's saying that. Sometimes you have to restrict your freedom through various forces in life. It just is. You always have to make decisions. Even not making a decision is a decision. To not make decisions, which would restrict your freedoms, because you wouldn't achieve the goals you want. You wouldn't meet the people that make you the happiest. You wouldn't do the things you find fulfilling and at the end of it. And so you're always making decisions, and generally they'll always restrict your freedoms. And you should make the decisions, the things that will be the most rewarding, the things that innately we go, I like that, but I don't like that, are the ones that restrict your freedoms the least. Do the job that makes you feel rewarded. You'll feel free. Treat people with respect. Don't murder someone, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
The things that we define as
I love to
ethics,
not murder.
I do too. Things we define as like ethics and morals, he thinks like that's the underlying backbone behind it. Is that like we don't know why it feels good to be good to each other and it feels bad to punch someone, but that is what it is that you're restricting someone else's freedom, which is reciprocated on yourself. And that's his philosophy anyway.
Okay.
And that resonated with me. I think that's true.
Yeah, I think when you connect it to that moral aspect, that makes more sense to me than, because I don't think every quote restriction of freedom is necessarily a bad thing.
It isn't. It isn't.
I think we need to simplify our worlds a little bit in order to be happy and
even
to
that,
take advantage of that
with his
short
definition
blink of a time we have.
Agreed. With his definition of freedom, that's kind of what he's saying. Basically, you don't feel free. You feel trapped by decision.
Yeah,
unless
it's like
you
that
restrict
Sylvia Plath poem where she watches all the figs wither and die on the tree. Let me see if I can find it. It's a good one.
Because she can't pick one?
Yes.
Oh, I gave it away.
I get to read something now.
Please do.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
I'll keep sipping this, but I still go down well, by the way.
I'm on Goodreads. I'm smart. All right. I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband in a happy home and children, and another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Attila, and a pack of other lovers with queer names and offbeat professions, and another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one, they plopped to the ground at my feet.
Wow.
See?
Indecision.
It's all connected there. Yeah, indecision. I think sometimes you do have to restrict your freedom of choosing a fig in order to
I completely agree.
kind of find out more about yourself and, yeah, be happier.
Which I think in a kind of counterintuitive way makes you feel like you're not, like you're restricting your freedom by restricting your freedom, but actually you're kind of unlocking it and enabling it.
Right.
That connects to this book, by the way.
Okay.
This guy says, don't be an imbecile. It's kind of his message.
But I love to be an imbecile. Who's this guy?
He defines being
Is
an
this
imbecile
Bert?
not as knowledge or intelligence. No, this is Fernando Sabater.
Ugh.
He
Saboteur.
says there's 5 types of imbecile. One who thinks he lacks nothing, who says that he doesn't care, who lives in an everlasting yawn or a permanent siesta, even though his eyes are open and he doesn't snore. So this is the decision to be non-decisive, not paralyzed, but just to go, I don't care about anything.
Sure.
The next kind
Passive.
is one who wants everything. The first thing that comes to mind, and its opposite at the same time. To go for a walk and stay in his chair, to dance and to remain seated, to chew garlic and kiss divinely, all at one time. I think that's the fig tree.
Yes.
And then other imbeciles, one who has no idea what he wants and doesn't bother to find out. He either falls in completely with the ways of his neighbors or takes against them. Everything he does reflects the majority opinion of those around him. He's an unthinking conformist or a rebel without a cause.
Yeah, I would say that's the part of losing your freedom, because like that usually wouldn't lead to a happy life if you're
Exactly.
just doing that. You're doing it because
You're
it's
just
the
reacting.
easiest thing.
Yep, you have,
It's
and
the
that's
only
not
thing you
moral
know.
or ethic. According to
Right.
him. And then the two last ones. Another imbecile is one who knows what he wants. One who knows that he wants, knows what he wants, and knows more or less why he wants it, but he's wanting is too weak, timid, and spineless.
Oh,
He
The
always,
coward.
He always ends up doing what he doesn't want and leaving what he wants for the next day in case things prove more propitious.
oh no.
So you can be a
What was that last word?
propitious, Propitious.
Propitious. I don't know that.
Propitious. Can you use it in a sentence?
I don't know the word.
Propitious.
Poor. What is it?
Propitious. Propitious.
Oh, propitious. is,
Propitious.
I think what you're trying to say.
Didn't know.
It's PRO. Yeah.
Pittious.
I thought you said POR at first.
Mm.
Yeah,
I've
propitious.
never heard of propitious.
Oh, really?
I don't know what that word is.
I think, yeah, it just means giving or indicating a good chance of success.
Right. So you put
Like
everything off because maybe tomorrow it'll be better.
Yeah.
The
okay.
last kind of imbecile. So we talked about
I think I'm the 4th imbecile so far.
you're a coward.
Yes.
So you have an idea of what you want, that you want,
Mhm.
and why you want it,
Yes.
but you don't care. The last kind is one who wants with a willful and reckless ferocity, but who has deceived himself about what is real. He wanders far from the track and ends up confusing the good life with the very thing that's going to destroy him. Delusional. So you could be delusional, you could be a coward, you can be a conformist, you can be a paralyzed by indecision like the plum lady,
Yes.
or you can be his eyes are open and he doesn't, the permanent siesta, everlasting
Mhm.
yawn. You can be a pacifist.
So
Those are
three
all
of
imbeciles.
3 of those imbeciles are almost like creating their own reality.
Yeah.
So like even
Yep.
even if they're not necessarily living a like ethical life from a different perspective, maybe in their mind everything's okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I mean, that's probably one of the.
But you might
good
be hurting
3.
other people.
You could be, and that's where it becomes
He
problematic.
also argues, he argues that every one of us, every day is some form of this. None of us are perfectly.
Yeah.
His opposite of being a moral imbecile is having a conscience. But a conscience is not something you win in the lottery or that falls on you from the skies. It's acknowledged that some people from early childhood are on a better ethical wavelength than others and have inherent good taste, morally speaking. But what about the What about those of us who are not on such a wavelength and utterly lack such taste in questions of living well? Well, I'm afraid I see no solutions there. So he basically says you have to have some moral taste and you have to develop a conscience. There's some innate qualities necessary, but live a conscious life.
Okay.
And so how's the Bud Light going down?
The Bud Ice
Bud Ice, sorry.
is delicious. Let me
Bud
pour you
Ice.
some more. I wish
Thank
I
you.
would have bought 2 silos instead of just the one.
This is the conscious life that brought us here. What kind of imbecile are we? You said you think you're the coward? I don't think you're the coward. I disagree with that. You've taken a lot of big steps towards what you want.
It's true. But on like a daily basis, I think that sort of fits into what I feel right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel yourself empathizing with one of those descriptions?
Either I think maybe the conformist or nonconformist,
Okay.
like just reacting to everyone around me, or the person who's kind of actively seeking what I think I want, but I'm not grounded in reality. I don't actually know what I want.
Mm.
So I'm out there doing stupid shit like, drinking Tall Boys of Bud Ice and stuff like that, thinking that that's what I need in my life. But it isn't. I'm out of touch with what I actually want. So I do care to look. I'm trying to look. I'm not taking the long siesta. I'm not paralyzed by choice, not being a coward about it, and not always going along with the crowd. But I don't know what it is that I want. I
Sure.
don't know the why.
I've actually had many discussions about sort of that, the not really knowing. And I think the thing I've told myself to make myself feel better is that that's sort of what the late 20s are, or like your mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
Is you're kind of in that in between being the college, sort of like all the possibilities in the world are out there, and it's the path still sort of laid out for you. Even getting that first job, that's still like sort of the next logical step.
Right.
But once you get past that and you're sort of like, okay, what field do I actually want to be in? What
Yeah.
industry do I want to be in? Do I want to do my own thing? Do I want to start a family? Do I want to, travel a lot? Do I want to buy a house? All of those decisions are happening in that late 20s, early 30s range. And a lot of those are scary because it feels like you're choosing one of those figs, so to speak, and
Yeah.
you can't go back from
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
is sort of what it feels like.
There's a bunch of lighthouses on the horizon, and this kind of cowardice is saying, well, I guess I'm choosing that one. But I'm not sure. If
Right,
I have
right.
Any idea. Not,
I just
I
want to
do
get
know what
started,
it
so
is.
I just
going
want to
that way.
sail, so I'm going to go that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just floating around. I'm not paralyzed and not choosing any of them. I'm not too scared to choose, but I don't know if that one's the right one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that in a lot of discussions with people around our age, I think that's been a consistent thing. It's just sort of like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm doing it. Like, I
Right.
guess I'm doing this job now. I guess I'm getting married. I guess whatever.
It's maybe the best kind of imbecile to be, though. Maybe it's just like we kind of don't know yet, and we're trying, but we're doing our best to learn. But,
Yeah.
But we can't really help that. We're doing everything we can. We're trying to be inward about it.
I think it is a good place to be, but it's also what causes all of this sort of stress or, uncertainty.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have stress if you chose the simplistic overview of like not choosing or
Yeah. If you resigned yourself to that, if you're just like, I'm just still floating and I'm okay.
right. Or I know that lighthouse over there. I do know it's the one I want, but like it's really far away. There's one close over here. and
Yeah.
That'll be okay.
I'm going to dock my ship in that harbor.
You bet. Bud
Bud
Ice.
Ice, baby. See, that's how we transition between the fun beer and the snooty talk.
Snooty. 5.5%
snooty,
alcohol.
it's fun.
We had fun. 5.5% alcohol, Nick.
I actually don't feel a buzz at all. Sometimes
neither.
on these empty stomach episode recordings, I'll like immediately feel the buzz, but I don't really feel it. It's just like nice and sort
It
of
is
smooth.
nice. Why is this nice? This sucks. So the reason I have a negative perception, as we talked about, is that these things are things jammed in like the bushes around downtown Seattle, right?
Yes, and it was given to me in a paper bag.
Given to
in
you in a
case I
paper
wanted
bag.
to slyly.
And I think we're not going to try to tackle the topic of homelessness, but
No,
the alcohol
today.
of choice is generally the most bang for your buck for people who are doing that, and so that has a negative connotation publicly in that way. Not that people that are doing that should be looked at negatively, but it does make Bud Ice not, it's not something you're going to see at a upper echelon cocktail party. Like it is what it is.
I don't want to be at that cocktail party
No,
if there's no Bud Ice.
I'm with you. I expected this to go down poorly. Do you remember ever having Milwaukee's Beast Ice.
Milwaukee's
Best Ice.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's bad.
Okay.
It's like
What's
really,
the ABV on that?
it's really fucking like woody and awful. I don't remember what the
Woody.
ABV is on it.
Okay.
Woody
see if
and
I can
not in
find
a
it.
good way.
Hey now.
But this 5.5% actually kind of surprised me. It's not that much more than regular Budweiser.
Yeah. So Best Ice, Milwaukee's Best Ice is 5.9% alcohol.
So it's a little gnarlier.
Mm-hmm. 2.12 out of 5 on Beer Advocate, by the way. Or poor.
Don't pour me another. Here's another thing I'll say. Sometimes we go through these, and near the end, I like it better. I like it worse near the end. It's getting warm, and the warm version of Bud Ice is no good at all. I'm
Agreed.
not a fan.
When they sold this to me, the 7-Eleven up this road must keep their refrigerators near freezing, because when they gave it to me, it was like hard to hold on to as I walked to the studio.
Your little hands were cold.
My little hands were shivering in the sun.
Wow. That's too bad.
And I did hold it with both hands the whole way, too. Held it in front of me, jaunting along.
But in a paper
Construction
bag.
workers were whistling at me. It was great.
As often happens when Nick walks around Seattle, he gets catcalled by the construction workers.
Always. There's always so much done construction.
So much goddamn construction, I can't even see. I'm trying to take my Bud Ice to my podcast studio.
By the way, this says Anheuser-Busch's exclusive ice brewing process takes the beer to a temperature below freezing, which leads to the formation of ice crystals in the finishing process that gives Bud Ice its rich, smooth taste.
That can't be true. Is that marketing material?
Yeah, it's on
That's
it's on Beer
bullshit.
Advocate, but they always pull the marketing material for that.
Ice just has more alcohol content in it. It's not about ice crystals.
It's
What
the
fuck are they
ice
talking
crystals,
about?
Joe.
That is
The crystals tell me the way.
horse shit. Freedom should tell you the way, not restricting it.
Yeah, let's get back to freedom. Why
Yeah.
can't we drink outside? Why can't I walk around with a Bud Ice?
Well, honestly,
get
weirdly,
hassled.
most people, I think, only think of freedom in terms of law-based freedom. And laws are actually their intent is to protect freedom. A law.
yes,
I should not be free to murder you. That restricts your freedom quite a bit. And, I shouldn't be free to speed because I'm endangering everyone else around us. So in theory, they are there to make sure that we can live as freely as possible.
We might have to have a whole episode sometime on the law system, legal system. That's a whole other road.
I think our legal system, of course, has its issues. I have bigger issues with cops, but not all cops. Just Seattle PD. I'm not a fan of the Seattle PD.
Why not?
In specific. I actually like cops around home. I've never had a problem with it, like in Wisconsin.
What's wrong with Seattle PD?
They're so slow at everything. I've had personal grievances with Seattle PD. I don't even mean it as a cultural
Yeah,
thing.
you did have some bad experiences.
I've had a couple
with
of bad experiences.
needing to call the cops.
Yeah.
So fair enough. I think they have a hard time in Seattle
Of
because the
course.
city overall is like, we hate cops.
Yeah,
and that is not healthy for anybody.
No, it's not. And cops in general, it's a thankless and very difficult job.
And in some places, very, it makes it even more difficult with the perception. But whatever. Yeah, we
What
don't
are
have to
we
talk
doing?
about that. I don't know. There's no absolute answer here.
Of
Personal
course not.
freedoms, though.
Personal freedoms.
Yeah, I've been getting into more of that, like focusing on personal freedoms as
Yeah.
I've gotten older.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We
And-
are all free,
Yeah.
but you have to kind of retain that. It's like it's your responsibility to retain that. You don't just
Right.
You do inherently
Don't give it
get
up
it.
so easily.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But you by doing nothing, you're making a decision to restrict yourself.
We give it up so easily in so many ways
It's hard
because it makes life easier.
It makes life easier, but it's hard to keep your freedom, your universe of freedom big. It's
Yes.
easy to let people who want to sell you shit and to let just indecision or apathy restrict your freedom because, like you said, then you're just floating down the lazy river. But you got to work kind of hard to keep yourself to be.
It's true. You got to be vigilant. Like it's a constant thing.
Which is
And
interesting.
I actually heard somebody earlier today. They were recording a podcast in the studio, and I was sitting in on it. They said something about like you need to basically choose. So this is a place where you choose. You need to choose like whatever your major tenets in life are, and so that you're instead of making 1,000 decisions every day, you're making one decision every day because many different things tie back to this one like overarching thing that you
Yeah.
believe in.
Yeah.
So if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to give up my time on a daily basis to people who don't matter to me, then you're going to make the decision to not subscribe to newsletter emails and not take calls and not like take unproductive meetings, like things
Focus
like
on the
that.
projects that you care about
So,
personally. That
exactly.
Kind of,
So make that one big decision, and that's the only decision you make, not the 1,000 decisions every time. 'Cause
yeah,
you can
that's
just,
the lighthouse. You've picked that lighthouse. as,
yeah,
like, your
exactly,
value. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the only thing you're doing. That's not the
Sure.
only decision you're making, but it's one of the major ones. And then you can focus on other aspects of your life that you actually care
Yeah, you
about.
don't have to worry about every possible
Yeah.
definition of what it means to be good.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Hey, Joe, for a change day, I got a mailbag to share with us.
Wow.
And
Do
I'm
share.
saying
Neither of us have heard this.
MALE bag.
Oh boy, a big.
And boy, is
big
he a
old
bag.
mailbag.
No, so Zach Patry, ZP, my brother.
Your brother.
Older brother.
Your brother.
My brother.
That didn't work.
That didn't work like Borat at all. This is the new mics. They don't pick it up.
Yeah, it's the mic's fault.
So after our last episode, so the previous episode that was released, Pure Still, we talked about Creed's song, the 6 Feet from the Edge.
2 weeks ago, yes. We talked about Creed's
yes,
song,
exactly.
yes.
Thank you, Joe. And he had some issues with our analysis of it. So we were going to play the message he left for me in relation to this. He texted me right after he listened to it, probably that Friday it came out. And then I said, sound off, leave me a voicemail. And then he did.
And you haven't listened to it yet.
I have not listened to it
We are
yet.
listening
You
to
haven't
it
heard
live
this?
for the first time.
Yes,
I
we'll
have
see
not
how it
either.
is.
Okay, here we go.
We haven't. Okay.
Oh,
No,
God
I didn't
damn it.
have it. And I'm like,
Now you're nervous? All right, Nick is trying to find.
I download it. Where's the
voicemail.
downloads?
Here's the other thing I'll say. There's 25 fluid ounces in here. That's over 2 beers. And Nick and I drank this Bud Ice very
quickly,
So it's
within
a very sessionable
20
beverage.
minutes. Yeah.
Very
Okay,
sessionable
here we go.
beverage. Plug it in, Nick.
I'm plugged in.
He thinks he's plugged in. He's not. Oh, this is a
my
fuck up if I've
goodness.
ever seen
I
it.
gotta tell you,
Here we go.
Okay.
you guys
Replay it.
spend-
Replay it.
I gotta tell you, you guys spending all that time overanalyzing that Creed song just really got to me. When you overanalyze the lyrics like that, you're really taking away from the beauty that is music. What's great about music is that it's subjective. It means whatever you want it to mean. Sure, it probably meant one thing to the artist when they wrote it, but depending on when you heard it, it can mean something completely different to you. It could be a moment, it could be a person, it could be a vacation. And that's really the beauty of music. And you guys sitting there pretending to know something about it was just really shitting all over that premise. Just felt the need to share that. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm just going to keep sitting here drinking beer and listening to you guys.
That
I'll
actually sort of
argue.
fits what we're talking about today.
It does kind of. I'll argue that that is what we were doing. We were deciding what it meant for us, weren't we?
I think, well,
I was legitimately confused.
we were sort of making fun of it.
Were we?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
damn it.
so. But I think he's right. Like art is meant to be. We were doing with it what we like to do with it, though, I think is the argument. Like some people like to just experience it, let it wash over them.
Sure.
But we were like sort of picking it apart. And that's what we like to do about it. That's our art.
Not all art. I like to pick apart.
Hashtag not all art. Not all art.
Hashtag not all art. That's an easy one that rolls off the tongue. I like to pick apart Creed, sure, because I'm not a huge Creed fan.
Right.
At least I thought I wasn't until I picked it apart, and then I had a all new appreciation for Creed. But thank you for sounding off, CP. I mean, you
sounded
made
off.
sense. You're right. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be so.
No,
Well,
we
kinda-
can, though, I think is what I'm saying. Why can't we just do that? They put
Well,
it
were we
out there.
doing it? Were we doing it?
We weren't like writing letters to whatever the dude's name is and saying you're bad. We're
Yeah,
talking about it.
We're trying to break down how we interpret his.
Yes.
So ZP's wrong.
He's sort of wrong, but that's his interpretation of our art, so that's
true.
fine.
Yeah, hey, it's kind of the point of a podcast, ZP, is to just put it out there and let it
Throw
wash
shit
over you.
onto the internet.
Right, you're not supposed to break down our podcast.
Yeah.
It's supposed to mean
How
everybody
dare
in a
you.
different subjective way. No, I actually kind of agree with him. Thanks for sounding
Okay.
off, ZP. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that was nice. I'm sorry I bungled the whole tech aspect of getting
We
that
can edit it out, and
podcast
we will.
voicemail
We'll edit
going.
it out.
We won't edit it.
Yes, we will.
The cord wasn't plugged in because we're sitting in different spots today, so I'm further from the mixer.
We have new mics, so we sat in a
Need
new
a
spot. I
longer
like these
cord.
mics, though.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, they're good. What does BA have to say about Bud Ice?
Bud Ice is coming in at lower than Milwaukee Best Ice, by the way. 1.89 out of 5 or awful.
We don't have that many awful beers.
We really don't. It's sort of surprising to me, though. This wasn't that bad.
I agree. Isn't that weird? Okay.
We
so,
might have a review worth sharing. Do your thing, and then I'll read this.
No, I was going to start getting a ranking, so read it.
Okay. I think this person is like, they're leaning into it. They're telling a story here. So here we go.
Okay.
This is from Double J.
Okay.
Actually, reasonable username. Yes, Bud Ice. The last time I had something with that name was back in 2007 when I tried and reviewed Bud Ice Light. That seems like half a lifetime ago. With it snowing yesterday in some low-lying area of the Southland for the first time since the 1940s, it feels appropriate to go for an ice beer from a clear 12-ounce bottle onto the beer. He needs to work on his punctuation here. This is hard to read. The body is clean and nearly pale yellow with visible, lively bubbles running from bottom to top. Sounds like my doctor analyzing me with my clothes off.
Tainted tip.
The fizzy head drops to a wee lace above. Before I baptize into the liquid, I smell it. Someone took Budweiser and made the smell of fermented rice stronger and added an old steely note to show that the two are different. Not quite Budweiser and not quite malt liquor. The first sip, inoffensive, with little to talk about.
Right.
Once the liquid dries up, it reveals a nasty aftertaste that echoes and leaves one of the worst aftertastes I've had in a beer.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah, this is fair. With small sips, I can somewhat tolerate it. With large sips, it pounds bitter seltzer water, cooked rice water, and fermentation that was rushed, giving the overall flavors an unfinished quality. It feels weak with a spritzy alcohol and a slightly syrup addition. I can tolerate a Budweiser, so I wonder where did Bud Ice go wrong? It's like the roast beef that was cooked at 500 degrees, or a sports car driving on a 4x4 track.
Oh.
I'm going to grab the whiskey after this and finally say that I tried Bud Ice. 1.6 out of 5.
Wow, what a review.
He
turned up the heat.
We might
on
have
it.
to lean on Double J. He's probably got a whole slew of
Click
reviews.
on his username. Yeah, let's jump to
Click
let's
on the
only
user-
review.
Well, we'll find it later.
Okay. Let's get to the rankings. I have a position for it because I was kind of scrolling through as you were reading that, and I didn't know if this was going to go right to the deplorables or maybe like the mild card territory. But as I kind of went through all the beers that I've had and that I really enjoy, I found a place for it, and it is in the deplorables. And I'll even give you a hint; it's kind of near the bottom. of
Okay.
it. So I
Where's
have it
that
in
lighthouse, Joe? Let me
my
see.
lighthouse for Bud Ice is the deplorable lighthouse, and it's near the cellars where the fermentation takes place. So if I read the
Can't have a
bottom,
cellar at a lighthouse.
yeah, you can. Why couldn't you?
You're right on water level.
If you were underground,
level.
If you were underground, fuckhead, and it was a big
You
rocky
can't-
cliff bluff,
True, you could dig into the rock.
tunnel in.
Okay.
Can I read you
I
the?
got it.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want to know where you got it before I read it.
I would put it under Palisades Pineapple and above Not Your Father's Mountain Ale.
Oh, you have it in Russian Radioactives. Wow, I have it higher. I'll tell you that right now. So you have it at what is that? Not your father. So
I don't know,
79.
I'm on Trello. Okay.
It's 79. I have it right below Beck's and right above Bud Light Orange.
Oh, wow.
I think I would pick this. I really don't like Bud Light Orange. So I had it at 74. You had it at 79.
God, the Trello's so out of date. It doesn't even
Why
have
do you
Bud
even
Light
look at the
Orange
Trello
on it. I don't
anymore?
know.
We don't update it. Neither of us update it. You have to look at the website.
No,
It's
you're right.
coldcastpodcast.com/rankings.
So we did Milwaukee's Best Premium. I don't even remember doing that.
We did, and it was 75, so this is very near the bottom. Like, we're right on the edge of the Russian Radioactive tier.
So you said below Beck's?
I have it below Beck's, above Bud Light Orange at 74.
Yeah, Bud Light Orange was pretty bad. I can't believe that was 5% alcohol, and this is
5.5.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Well, no,
we really shit on Beck's, huh?
we did. Maybe I don't know, we had a rotten one. But that would be above Olympia. You like it above Olympia. Olympia is where I want
fine.
you to. Olympia is your benchmark. So if you think you'd have, if there's a Bud Ice in an Olympia
My
available,
belch mark, more like.
that
thing
it.
came screaming up out of me.
And hey, we haven't seen the test of time with Bud Ice. The same could
true.
happen. If you're standing at a store or you're at a bar
Mm-hmm.
and there's a Bud Ice and an Olympia, what are you reaching for?
I'm standing at a bar. There's a Bud Ice Olympia. What do I reach for?
What do you reach for?
What do I reach for?
What do you reach for?
I
And
reach
the blood
for that
trickles
big
down your
one.
neck, and the blood trickles down your neck.
Give me the
would?
Bud Ice!
You would. Wow. So that means that my half of the thing would actually make sense. So do you have it above? Where do you have it? You're good with that above Bud Light Orange?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So it's at 74. I actually think that's like a big win for Bud Ice.
I think so too. It should have been coming into it. It should have been in a Russian radioactive.
Yeah. Congratulations, Bud Ice. And for those of you Cold
Freedom.
Cans Nation out there, yeah, find your freedoms. Go get a Bud Ice today.
Yeah. The Cold Cans podcast is recorded in the Overcast room at Cloud Studios in Seattle, Washington. Visit cloudstudiosseattle.com